The Third Testament, the Book of the True Life, Chapter 16, in Section 4, the Law, the Love of God, and Fellow Men. The header reads, the Divine Law, the Law of God, the Power of Divine Law. Verse 1, there are many men who judge my doctrine out of this time. That is because their material nature does not allow them to see the eternal aspects of my lessons. Verse 2, my law is unchanging. It is men who with their cultures, civilizations, and laws pass, leaving only what the Spirit has built with its works of love and charity. It is the Spirit that after every day of work and every trial upon querying the arcane beholds the unmovable stone of my law and the ever-open book. Verse 3, I have poured my light forth over all men, revealing to them the only existing truth. But you see, each man and each people feels, thinks, believes, and interprets it differently. Verse 4, these different ways of thinking that men have given origin to their divisions, since each people or race follows different paths and also nourishes different ideals. Verse 5, the majority have departed from the true illuminated path. They believe that fulfilling the divine law implies sacrifices, denial, and superhuman effort, preferring to create for themselves religions and sects whose rules and practices are easier for them to fulfill, believing that thereby they can calm the need for light and elevation that their spirit feels. Verse 6, many centuries and eras have passed without humans realizing that fulfilling my law is not a sacrifice for them, but rather that they do sacrifice spirit and flesh in the world by denying my commandments. They have not realized and have not wanted to understand that who complies with my word must find true happiness and a peace, wisdom, and grandeur that materialized men see in such a different way. Verse 7, the moral and scientific world that surrounds you has been the work of men of material ideas who have sought the material improvement of humanity, and I have permitted them to do their work, to take it to its limits, to know the results and gather their fruits, so that in them they can gather the light of experience. In that light my justice will be manifest, and in that justice will be present my law, which is love. Verse 8, if I agree to allow you to apply my doctrine to your lives according to your own will rather than mine, truly I tell you that you would never recover from your spiritual stagnation, never allowing your spirit its unfolding, its development, and its perfection. Verse 9, and so there you have humanity drowsing in its religions, making no move toward the light, because they have not submitted themselves to the order of the divine law, but have tried to force the law to their own will, filling it with myths and errors. Verse 10, it has been necessary for many men of this era to free themselves of all religion in order to seek me with the Spirit and to be able to develop all those attributes, gifts, and potentials that they feel beating in the innermost part of their being. The header reads, the commandment of the love of God in the spiritualist work. Verse 11, it is your God who speaks to you. My voice is the law. Today you are hearing it anew without the necessity of inscribing it upon a rock or sending my incarnate word among you. It is my divine voice that reaches your spirit and reveals to it the beginning of an era in which man will be justified, reconciled with his Creator, and purified as it is in heaven. Verse 12, I gave you the perfect lesson through Jesus. Analyze my passage through the world as a man from birth to death, and you will have an explanation of love in its perfect living form. Verse 13, I do not come to ask you to be equal to Jesus, for in him there was that which you cannot reach, perfection in the form of a man. For in him was God himself in limited form, but I do tell you that you must imitate him. Verse 14, my eternal law has always spoken to you of that love. I said to you in the first times, love God with all your heart and spirit, and love your neighbor as yourself. Verse 15, later I gave you these inspirations. Love your brothers as the Father has loved you, and love one another. Verse 16, in this time I have told you to love God before all creation, to love God in all that exists, and all that exists in God, that you practice charity and more charity with your brothers in order to see the Father in all his splendor, for charity is love. Verse 17, I will not even say to you that this doctrine of spirituality will be a worldwide religion, because I never granted you a religion, but a law. I limit myself to telling you that the law that will triumph on earth and which will be established in it to illuminate the existence of men will be the law of love, which I have explained in my doctrine, so that you understand it fully. Verse 18, mankind will still perform many false deeds of love and charity until it learns to love and practice true charity, and many will go from religion to religion until their spirit elevates itself in knowledge and reaches an understanding that only law, the universal and eternal doctrine of the Spirit, is the law of love, which everyone will attain. Verse 19, all the religions will disappear, and only the light of the temple of God will remain shining within and outside of man, in which everyone will render only one worship of obedience, of love, of faith, and goodwill. The header reads, the failure to obey the divine commandments and its consequences. Verse 20, on this dawn of commemoration, I ask you, what have you done with the law that I conveyed to mankind through Moses? By chance, were those commandments given only to the generations of that period? Verse 21, truly I say to you, that holy seed is not in the hearts of men, for they do not love me, nor do they love one another. They do not honor their parents, nor respect what belongs to others. And on the other hand, they do take each other's lives. They adulterate and cause disgrace upon themselves. Verse 22, do you not hear falsehood on the lips of everyone? Have you not realized how one people defrauds other people of their peace, and still mankind says it knows my law? What will become of men if they forget my mandates completely? Verse 23, in the second era, having entered Jerusalem, Jesus found that the temple, the place dedicated to prayer and worship, had been converted into a market, and the master, filled with passion, cast out those who had disrespected the temple, saying to them, my Father's house is not a marketplace. Those who were cast out were less guilty for what they did than those who were responsible for guiding men in the law of God. The priests had converted the temple into a place where ambitions and grandeur reigned, and that kingdom was destroyed. Verse 24, today I have not taken a whip to punish those who disrespect my law. I have allowed them to feel the consequences of their own faults, so that they may realize that my law is inflexible and unchangeable. I have pointed out to man the righteous path that he needs to follow. If he departs from it, he exposes himself to the consequences of having broken my righteous law, where my love is manifested. Verse 25, I come to reconstruct my temple, a temple without walls or towers, for it is in the hearts of men. Verse 26, the Tower of Babel still divides humanity, but its foundations shall be destroyed in the hearts of men. Verse 27, idolatry and religious fanaticism have also raised their high towers, but they are weak and shall fall. Verse 28, truly I tell you that my laws, divine and human, are sacred, and they themselves shall judge the world. Verse 29, humanity does not believe it is idolatrous, but truly I tell you, it still adores the golden calf. Verse 30, chaos has returned because virtue does not exist, and where there is no virtue, there can be no truth. It is not that the law which the Father conferred to Moses has no force, nor that the doctrine of Jesus was only applicable to past times. Both of them, in their essences, are eternal laws. Recognize, however, that they are like a fountain from whose waters none are obliged to drink, but that whoever approaches that fountain of love does so through their own will. Verse 31, interpret my teachings justly. Do not think that my spirit is happy to see your sufferings on the earth, or that I come to deprive you of all that is gratifying to you in order to enjoy it myself. I come to make you recognize and respect my laws, because they are worthy of your obedience and respect, and because complying with them will bring you happiness. Verse 32, I taught you to render unto God what is God's, and to Caesar what is Caesar's. But for the men of today, there is only Caesar, and to your Lord you have nothing to offer. If you at least gave what was fair to the world, your pains would be less. But the Caesar that you have put before you has dictated absurd laws for you, and has made you slaves and taken your lives from you without giving you anything in compensation. Verse 33, study how different is my law, which does not tie either the body or the spirit. It merely persuades you with love and guides you with sweetness. It gives you all without interest or selfishness, and rewards all and compensates all along the road. The header reads, fulfillment of the supreme commandment. Verse 34, if the Lord said to you, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and spirit, and love thy neighbor as thyself, and if the Master preached the doctrine of love, this spiritual voice that proceeds from the same source now comes to tell you to embrace the law of love, because it has a strength that you will not find even in the greatest armies of the world. Its conquest shall be firm and lasting, for all that you build upon a foundation of love has eternal life. Verse 35, I am showing you the true life of the Spirit, so that you do not live under unjust threats, and so that you do not obey my law only because you fear God's punishment. You have been told about that punishment by those who have not known how to interpret my word. Verse 36, take my law. It is not complicated nor difficult to understand. Anyone who knows it and guides himself by it will not be confused. Neither does he give room to false words or omens, to erroneous ideas or wrong interpretations. Verse 37, my law is simple. It always indicates the way which you should follow. Trust in me. I am the way which will lead you to the white city, the promised land, which has its doors open, awaiting your arrival. Verse 38, when will you realize that only by fulfilling my law will you be able to find health, happiness, and life? Verse 39, you acknowledge that in the material life there are principles that one needs to follow in order to survive. However, you have forgotten that there are also important spiritual principles that need to be respected so that one may enjoy the source of eternal life in the divine kingdom. Verse 40, remember that only I am your salvation in times past, present, and yet to come. My laws was, is, and will be the road and the guide of your spirit. Verse 41, blessed shall be those who trust in my law, for they shall never be lost in the crossing of the ways. They shall come to the promised land and give voice to the hymn of triumph. Verse 42, I know that the greater your knowledge of me, the more you will love me. Verse 43, when I tell you to love me, do you know what I truly want to tell you? I am telling you to love truth, to love life, to love enlightenment, to love one another, and to love the true life. Verse 44, I wish that just as I love you, you love one another and yourselves as well, for I have conceded to you not just a part of the guidance and direction, but rather taking care of yourselves. I have made your first duty with me. You must love yourselves, since you are the living image of your Creator. Verse 45, the mission that I have entrusted to my people on earth is both great and very delicate, and that is why I have sought them out in every era to inspire them with my word and reveal to them something more of the content of the law. Verse 46, the law of love, of good, and of justice has been the spiritual inheritance that I have brought in every era. From lesson to lesson, I have led humanity to the understanding that the law can be summarized in one single commandment: love. Love the Father, who is the author of life. Love your brother, who is part of the Father, and love all that the Lord has created and ordered. Verse 47, love is the cause, the principle, the seed of wisdom, of grandeur, of strength, of elevation, and of life. That is the true road traced by the Creator for the spirit, so that step by step and dwelling to dwelling, you continue feeling ever closer to me. Verse 48, if from the beginning of time, mankind had created a cult of spiritual love instead of falling into idolatrous rites and religious fanaticism, this world today, made into a valley of tears by men's anguish and misery, would be a valley of peace to which spirits would come to gain merit in order to reach those spiritual dwelling places that a spirit on his road of elevation must enter after this life. My peace be with you. This concludes chapter 16 of the Third Testament, the book of the true life. Thank you for listening. Shalom.